Okay, guys, well, I am like a kid in a candy store right now because what I have in my hands is a pawpaw. Now, I'm super excited about this because where my dad came from back in North Carolina and the Appalachians, they had pawpaw trees. But living out here in Washington State, I've never eaten a pawpaw. I don't think I've ever seen a pawpaw. We don't see it on the grocery stores, and it's not something that grows natively here. But Joe, you brought me two pawpaw trees and you're walking me through where they need to be planted because this is not like what we typically saw with our regular fruit trees where we just want to plant these in full sun and they're going to be good to go. These
That's
have a
right.
special environment, especially in the first 3 years. Is that correct, of their age?
Yeah, typically the first 3 years of their life, pawpaws need to grow as an understory plant
Okay.
where they've naturally developed. They're always under leaf cover pretty much all summer long.
Okay.
All the oak and the maple and the deciduous trees that run through the Appalachian Mountains, that's where they grow. Okay. So they will die from sun scald until they're established. And even in what you might call plantings where pawpaws have been grown to harvest their fruit, those trees are still usually painted with a diluted latex paint to prevent the trunks from getting sun scald even when they become older.
Okay. So keeping them in this leafy environment or an environment where they're not getting a ton of full sun is really key in their overall health.
Yeah, in your case, you've got an environment where they can grow healthy and strong, but large. In another kind of planting situation, you might use some shade cloth
Okay.
to keep them covered. The tree wants to be 25 feet tall.
It's going to be big then.
In a colder environment like ours, the tree's probably going to hit 10 or 15,
Okay.
but it does want to be large because it does want some sunlight
Okay.
to ripen its fruit, especially when it's well established.
Okay. So this guy is he's just little tiny here right now. So at what age do they generally start producing fruit? Like how old does it have to get before I'm usually going to get some type of fruit production?
Well, pawpaw can take 5, 8, even 10 years to really start producing fruit.
Okay.
It needs to reach maturity. It needs to have the right kind of environment before it will reproduce reliably.
Okay. So this is a long-term game that we're looking at with this one. I'm not going to get fruit right away.
No, it's not a berry bush, so we're probably not looking at fruit right away.
Oh man, you guys, I got to be waiting a while, but I think it's going to be worth it. I'm so excited. I'm like ridiculously excited about this. Probably way more than the normal person, but I've wanted to grow pawpaw for years and I just have never gotten the plants and I've never put it in, which I'm really glad because honestly, if I had gotten it without doing any amount of research or without having you here, I would have just planted it out with the regular fruit trees and it would not have done very well. So we're actually out in a section of our pasture that's got quite a few alders and some maples and some cottonwoods, but doesn't have a lot of evergreen here. So we've got a lot of leafy manor, and in the summer months, there will be a lot of good leaf cover for this. But you were telling me that with the pawpaws, that they have a very interesting root system that can be a little bit temperamental, and that there's some things I need to be aware of when planting and growing this.
Well, yeah, pawpaws are taprooted plants.
Okay.
And like many taprooted plants, that taproot is essential to the plant's survival. Many times when pawpaws are planted, people are a little rough with them. They break the taproot and the tree dies.
Okay.
This is why you'll see a lot of people online especially talk about growing pawpaws from seed, which is a whole nother conversation about the fact that pawpaws don't actually come true from seed.
Oh, okay.
And so those trees would have to be grafted and top worked to get, like this one's a Pennsylvania golden pawpaw. Mm-hmm. Other varieties like Shenandoah, Susquehanna, KSU Benson. There's several improved varieties. They don't come true from seed.
Okay.
So we'll have to be careful when we plant this pawpaw. Make sure we don't disturb that taproot. Make sure we don't compact the soil.
Okay. And they are cross-pollinators, meaning you got to have two to get any fruit, even though we're waiting years to get that fruit.
That is true.
Okay.
There's enough genetic drift naturally that when they come true from seed, they cross-pollinate readily. But the selected varieties are functionally clones.
Okay.
I mean, they're not cloned. It's not tissue cultured. But like all grafted fruit trees, one Pennsylvania golden pawpaw is as good as 100 for pollination purposes. They don't pollinate themselves, and so they don't pollinate each other.
Okay. Perfect. And I'm assuming kind of the same rule of thumb that we talked about, like for the cross-pollination with the pawpaws, like within 50 feet of one another, or
That's,
planting wise?
that's the good rule of thumb. Pawpaws are fly, not bee pollinated.
Okay.
Their flowers smell lightly of rotting meat
Oh, lovely.
because they want carrion insects
Okay.
to do the pollination. That's this plant's particular strategy. It's not really a table flower
Okay.
for
Good
sure.
to know. Okay. So there's lots of flies where we had cattle, so that's not going to be an issue then. Okay. So we're going to put it right here?
Yep, this sounds great.
Okay.
Go ahead and clear the air a little bit. There's a blackberry here. We're going to pop that out of the ground. You don't want that. Don't worry, it'll grow back.
Yes, it will. Blackberries are very hard to kill, even when you're intentionally working on it.
This hole here, we're digging it deeper than we need to dig it because we don't want any pressure on that taproot.
Okay.
The hole doesn't have to be too large. I'm going to show you what we're going to do after we get it planted here.
Okay.
This hole is probably more or less fine the way it is. Let's go ahead and make sure she's deep enough. Yep, that's looking good.
Okay.
So we're going to get down here. We'll take some of this leaf mulch here and drop it in the hole like this so.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Okay, we're going to slide this out
Okay.
real gentle like. We want this to essentially keep its shape as much as possible.
Gotcha.
We're not going to disturb the roots at
Oh,
all.
no. Okay.
Get a little more mulch in there. We want it to sit a little bit higher.
Okay. So we essentially wanted it at the same level.
Yep, just like a regular
Okay.
fruit tree.
Okay.
We're being very, very gentle about this whole process to make sure that that taproot stays intact. Now the taproot is going to go straight down as much as possible
Okay.
to look for water. So you're definitely still going to water this in,
Okay.
but it will hopefully, if everything goes well, become drought tolerant rather quickly.
Okay.
And then you should just be able to more or less leave it alone. But
It's going to be worth it.
there is the proverb the Chinese have. Best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago.
And the next best time is now, right?
That's right.
Awesome. Hey guys, so it's an early morning and we're coming out to check on the pawpaw trees. I planted these a week ago and we actually haven't had any rain since, so I want to make sure that they have got plenty of water because I don't want anything to happen to these trees. One of the reasons that I am so excited to plant my pawpaw tree and to be growing these on our homestead is it's one of America's lost fruits. It's native to North America, and yet most of America, unless you happen to live in the eastern or southern states and some in the Midwest, but for those of us who are more north, like think about it, you very rarely, have you ever, I have never seen a pawpaw on the store shelf. And part of that reason is because in our history, as we turned away from growing food at home and using what was just natively all around us and moved to modern agriculture in the big box stores and supermarkets, fruit that wasn't something that shipped easily, or if it didn't have a long shelf life, was just eradicated from our regular modern society, what we normally eat. And pawpaws is one of those. But the awesome thing is people like you and I who want to make sure that we have these heirloom seeds and these native plants and that we don't let them become lost. They're making a comeback. And so I'm really excited to be a part of that. And especially during these times where I'm looking at creating our own food security, even more so than normal, on our homestead. And I know I've got a long wait until I actually get a harvest and to eat these trees, but it just gives me an immense feeling of joy to know that we're starting and something to look forward to in the future. So I hope that you really enjoyed this video. If you have had pawpaws or you grow pawpaws, please tell me all your favorite ways to eat them. I cannot wait. I know I've got to wait. I've got to be waiting, but I am so eager to be able to have the first bite of pawpaws, even though it's going to be years from now.